once they actually do find somebody. But you can already tell, honey, they already probably already done found somebody. They're just gonna, parading people around for the sake of parading people around. I swear to God. Because I'm thinking about it talking to you guys. I swear it's happening. They already have somebody, okay? Because, like I said before, 2025 is a 9 year big change year, lots of dynamics, and we already have certain, I'm going to say, figures, okay, who want to roster in such change. If you really think about it, all of us are really in a state of no longer wanting to be survival, we want to be thrival. I know thrival ain't a real word, but let's all take it. Okay, let's all hashtag it because I think that's what we all desire at this point. And there is a massive contender down south who really wants us to be fun. Okay, that's a shot, right? But honestly, guys, it's just telling. It's telling. And so, with that being said, I'm gonna put all of these thoughts to bed. You guys decide what you think. Enjoy this video compilation. Let's have a whole discussion about it. Let's see who comes around the corner, knocking on the door of the House of Commons and say, hey, I'm ready to, fight for this next election. What do you guys think? Let's have a conversation about it in the comment section. Who would you vote for? And are you ready for a PC turn point? Okay, because that's probably what I think it's gonna happen. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Enjoy the video. And like I said, anyways, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
I would say that I have been calling for an election, whatever internal dynamics the Liberal Party.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command.
So last night over dinner, I told my kids about the decision that I'm sharing with you today. I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process. Last night, I asked the President of the Liberal Party to begin that process. This country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election. Every bone in my body has always told me to fight because I care deeply about Canadians, I care deeply about this country, and I will always be motivated by what is in the best interest of Canadians. And the fact is, despite best efforts to work through it, Parliament has been paralyzed for months after what has been the longest session of a minority parliament in Canadian history. That's why this morning I advised the Governor-General that we need a new session of Parliament. She has granted this request, and the House will now be prorogued until March 24th.
We're seeing Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau step up to the microphone now. Let's listen in.
Bon matin. Every morning I've woken up as Prime Minister. I've been inspired by the resilience, the generosity, and the determination of Canadians. It is the driving force of every single day I have the privilege of serving in this office. That is why, since 2015, I've fought for this country, for you, to strengthen and grow the middle class. Why we rallied to support each other through the pandemic, to advance reconciliation, to defend free trade on this continent, to stand strong with Ukraine and our democracy, and to fight climate change and get our economy ready for the future. We are at a critical moment in the world. You all know I'm a fighter. Every bone in my body has always told me to fight because I care deeply about Canadians, I care deeply about this country, and I will always be motivated by what is in the best interest of Canadians. And the fact is, Despite best efforts to work through it, Parliament has been paralyzed for months after what has been the longest session of a minority parliament in Canadian history. That's why this morning I advised the Governor-General that we need a new session of Parliament. She has granted this request, and the House will now be prorogued until March 24th. Over the holidays, I've also had a chance to reflect and have had long talks with my family about our future. Throughout the course of my career, any success I have personally achieved has been because of their support and with their encouragement. So last night over dinner, I told my kids about the decision that I'm sharing with you today. I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process. Last night, I asked the President of the Liberal Party to begin that process. This country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election. A new Prime Minister and leader of the Liberal Party will carry its values and ideals into that next election. I'm excited to see the process unfold in the months ahead. We were elected for the third time in 2021 to strengthen the economy post-pandemic and advance Canada's interests in a complicated world. And that is exactly the job that I and we will continue to do for Canadians. Merci beaucoup, mes amis.
Thank you, Prime Minister. We'll now go to questions, starting with Laurence Martin, Radio-Canada.
Bonjour, Monsieur Trudeau. Vous vouliez le faire, ce combat contre Pierre Poilievre. Des batailles internes, il y en a dans votre parti depuis plusieurs mois déjà. Pourquoi est-ce que vous décidez d'abdiquer maintenant? Qu'est-ce qui vous a fait changer d'idée?
Why did you decide to resign now after all the squabbles in the party over the past months? I'm not somebody who recoils easily before such enormous challenges before the party and the country.
Whether you're looking to move to Italy as a digital nomad, a retiree, or a student, if you're looking to make the most of the experience, learning the Italian language,
because I'm doing this job in the interests of Canadians in Canada and to defend the democracy which I cherish. But I realize that I cannot be the leader in the next elections.
All right, I want to bring in CNN's Paula Newton in Ottawa. We also have Jeff Zeleny standing by for us in West Palm Beach. Paula, first to you, though. I mean, here you have Justin Trudeau stepping down, resigning as the leader of the Liberal Party in Canada. He has been at the helm there for 11 years. Is this a case of Trudeau jumping before he's pushed?
Absolutely, 100%. And he basically said so in the last few moments there that we heard from him. He said, look, I can't possibly fight what will be an incredibly difficult election campaign for a government that's almost a decade old if I have to continually fight these internal battles. Now, look, there have been a long list of scandals as well as some achievements that he outlined there. But again, so many members of his own government coming to him and saying, we don't believe that you can beat Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre in the next election, an election that has to be held by the end of the year. And Pam, as I've been saying all morning, stop me when this sounds familiar. This really leaves his party in a tough squeeze. The polls already indicate that they are more than 20 percentage points behind, and now they're going to have this succession battle, and it will be rough with a lot of different people putting their hat in the ring. In the meantime, you have President-elect Trump coming into office, I don't have to remind you, in 2 weeks, threatening 25% tariffs on all Canadian goods imported into the United States. It is a tall order by any stretch. He will stay to be a so-called caretaker prime minister, but also Parliament will not be sitting. And that'll be interesting because it means that no government business can basically get done. It's really just governing on an emergency basis, if you will. Again, a lot of moving parts here. I will add to all of this. Canada just assumed the G7 presidency at the beginning of 2025. G7 meeting supposed to happen in Alberta, Canada in June. A lot on the plate here. And the Prime Minister really putting a personal touch on this, saying that, look, I had a discussion with my 3 children at dinner last night, and that's when I made the decision, something we all know he did not want to do.
Jeff, to bring you in on this, it wasn't that long ago. It was November 29th, where Trudeau met with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago. We have seen Trump belittle Trudeau, right? I mean, he posted on Truth Social that he was the governor of the great state of Canada. You know, they've had a tumultuous relationship over the years, and now you have Trudeau resigning as the leader of the Liberal Party in Canada.
Certainly an extraordinary move, and one that was likely not on the mindset of the Prime Minister as he traveled down just in the weeks after the election. As you were saying, Pamela, that was a chance for Justin Trudeau to perhaps look for a lifeline from Donald Trump for his own leadership in Canada. That, of course, did not happen shortly after that dinner in Mar-a-Lago. And it was not a bilateral meeting. It was not a long conversation. Justin Trudeau was seated at a dinner table with about 10 other people or so. So perhaps that was also a sign of just the level of the meeting was rushed in some respects, but was also certainly not a long conversation about things to come. But since then, Donald Trump has been belittling and mocking the Prime Minister, of course, the beleaguered Prime Minister, as well as suggesting that Canada should be the 51st state of the United States. Of course, not going to happen regardless of who the Prime Minister is. However, this does certainly raise questions for Donald Trump as well. Will he try and involve himself in the elections in Canada? How does he deal with this caretaker government? Do the tariffs he has proposed actually go through? We shall see. There are more questions at this very moment, as is often the case here, than there are answers. But 2 weeks from now, Donald Trump, after taking the oath of office, 2 weeks and 1 hour from now, this will be his challenge and his problem as well. But for now, no question, this is a very major development that certainly was not foreseen when Justin Trudeau came down here to Palm Beach just a few weeks ago, Pamela.
Yeah, you mentioned, you know, we'll have to wait and see if Trump meddles in this upcoming election in Canada. You also have to wonder if Elon Musk will be weighing in as well. We've seen him weigh in other elections in other countries. So a lot to keep our eye on here with this breaking news of Justin Trudeau resigning as the leader of the Liberal Party in Canada. Thank you both, Paula Newton, Jeff Zeleny.
No more suspense. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has resigned. He's just announced his decision in Ottawa. It comes after months of criticism from his own party lawmakers. He won't be out immediately, though. Trudeau will stay on until his party finds a new leader. After that, he will step down. In his speech, Trudeau mentioned the party rebellion. He said if he's fighting internal battles, he cannot be the best candidate. He also said another candidate could win the election. Listen in.
So last night over dinner, I told my kids about the decision that I'm sharing with you today. I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process. Last night, I asked the President of the Liberal Party to begin that process. This country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election.
Trudeau is leading a minority government in Canada. The opposition is plotting to oust him later this month. Plus, his own party wants him gone. The Liberals have around 150 MPs in Parliament. That is the party that he leads. Nearly 50 of them want Trudeau out. 50 MPs from his own party, 1/3 of his party wants him to step down. On Wednesday, the Liberals have a party meeting scheduled. If he waits till then, if he waits till Wednesday, the optics will be bad. It will look like the party forced him out during the meeting, which is why Justin Trudeau is resigning today. So what happens now? Well, Trudeau is not leaving in a flash. He wants to stay on until a new leader is elected. And how long would that take? Between 3 to 4 months. But the Liberals may not have that sort of time. Canada's parliament was supposed to convene later this month, and the opposition had planned a no-confidence vote. But Trudeau is trying to delay it. He has asked Canada's Governor-General to prorogue the upcoming session, basically to suspend it. Chances are that this decision will be challenged in court, but if he succeeds, the parliament will only convene in March and not in January. The idea is to give the Liberals, that is his party, some more time to hold a contest and find the best replacement for Trudeau. Even then, the Liberals will have a hard time. Just look at the poll numbers. Trudeau's Liberal Party is at 21%. The Conservatives are at 44%. That's a massive lead for the opposition party. So good luck to Trudeau's replacement. They'll have maybe 1 month to overcome this lead. But that's all in the future. For now, let's focus on Trudeau's career. Where did things go wrong for him? In 2015, Justin Trudeau shot to global fame. He won Canada's elections in a landslide. At that point, he had everything going for him: youth, a famous surname, and surging popularity. Trudeau was exactly what the media wanted. Vogue called him Canada's politician dreamboat. He announced a cabinet with equal number of men and women. He advocated for minority rights, and he fought for climate action. So naturally, people liked him. But if you look past the activism, one thing becomes quite clear. Justin Trudeau was not a good administrator, nor was he a savvy politician. In 2017, we saw evidence of that. Trudeau and his family vacationed with spiritual leader Aga Khan, but his office kept it a secret. Later, Canada's Ethics Commission pulled up Trudeau. They said he should not have taken the trip. And from there, the honeymoon was over. Trudeau lost his majority in the 2019 general election. He gambled by calling snap polls in 2021. But again, same result. Trudeau was left at the mercy of another party, the NDP, the New Democratic Party, led by Khalistani Jagmeet Singh. This third term hurt Trudeau a lot. At home, his handling of the pandemic came under criticism, especially his vaccine mandates. Anti-vax truckers began protesting on the streets. Justin Trudeau responded by cracking down hard. The same Trudeau had asked India to negotiate with protesting farmers, but at home, he chose violence. And that's just one example of his hypocrisy. The pandemic also saw rising inflation in Canada. It reached more than 8% by mid-2022. And that's when the opposition smelled blood. They blamed the inflation on Trudeau's signature policies, especially his carbon tax. It's a price levied on energy from fossil fuels. Say you install a gas heater at your home, or you fill up your car at the gas station. A fixed amount must be paid as carbon tax. The opposition says this is why prices are rising. Their leader, Pierre Poilievre, is running a campaign around it. He's got T-shirts that say, "Axe the tax." He's also calling the upcoming election the carbon tax election. And how did Trudeau fight it? By finding enemies outside Canada. First was India. In 2023, Justin Trudeau accused New Delhi of murdering a Khalistani in Canada. His name was Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Trudeau gave no evidence or intelligence reports, yet he wanted the world to believe him. It's a strategy as old as politics itself. Failing at home, just blame so-called external forces. And he did the same in late 2024. When Donald Trump won, Trudeau flew down to Florida to meet him. Trump was threatening Canada with tariffs. So Trudeau saw this as an opportunity. He branded himself as a leader who could handle Trump, who could protect Canadian businesses. But Trump, being Trump, began mocking Trudeau. He asked Canada to join the United States, and he called Trudeau governor instead of prime minister. Which brings us to present day. Trudeau has basically run out of tricks to play. He's tried activism, he's tried foreign threats, and he's tried the Trump card. But so far, none of it has worked. So it was really a question of how Trudeau wanted to go, ousted by his own party, ousted by his parliament, or on his own terms. He has chosen the last option. But even that may not save his legacy. Trudeau stands exposed after 10 years in power. He cloaked his poor leadership skills behind woke values and activism. But finally, Canadians have seen through it. The question is, what sort of damage has he already done?
The Prime Minister didn't answer why he didn't quit sooner, but after facing a caucus revolt in the fall, he caved on this winter day.
I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader.
That means Justin Trudeau will still be on the job for several more weeks. For now, the contenders have not outright declared their interest, but most of them publicly thanked Trudeau for his leadership and sacrifice, including the former Finance Minister, Chrystia Freeland, who forced this moment.
I had really hoped that she would agree to continue as my Deputy Prime Minister and take on one of the most important files that not just this government but this country is facing. But she chose otherwise.
Freeland's resignation and attack on the government's spending priorities have catapulted her to the top of the contenders list, ahead of former Bank of Canada Governor Mark Carney.
Her brand has come out ahead on all of this, and Justin Trudeau is no longer the Prime Minister. So if you think of everything that she probably wanted to accomplish through her resignation, the job is done.
Also among those rumored to be interested in the top job are several women and 4 current cabinet ministers of finance, foreign affairs, innovation and transportation, and a former BC premier. After trailing the Conservatives by double digits for nearly 2 years, caucus members see a ray of hope.
Our chances of winning the next election have just gone up by about 1,000%.
The board of directors of the Liberal Party will meet later this week to set out the rules for their leadership race. A leader has to be selected by March 24th, when prorogation ends. Whoever is chosen will likely face a non-confidence vote as soon as Parliament resumes. Sandy.
Okay, Judy, thank you.
We want to bring you the reaction from the opposition leader, the Conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, right now. We mentioned a few moments ago that he did tweet, and in his words, there is no change. That is from his account posted on X. There was also a video posted as part of that post. Let's play it now.
Canadians desperate to turn the page on this dark chapter in our history might be relieved today that Justin Trudeau is finally leaving. But what has really changed? Every Liberal MP in power today and every potential Liberal leadership contender fighting for the top job helped Justin Trudeau break the country over the last 9 years. All Liberal politicians actively worked to pass into law the job-killing inflationary carbon tax, a tax that Carbon Tax Carney endorsed in his book. All supported a law quadrupling the tax over the next 5 years. All voted for or actively supported Trudeau's out-of-control spending, debt, and immigration. All passed Trudeau's housing policies that doubled the cost of homes. All Liberal politicians helped pass catch-and-release bail and house arrest for the most rampant reoffenders, policies that increased violent crime 50%, gun crime 116%, and hate crime by 250%. So given that Liberal MPs and leadership contenders unanimously supported everything Trudeau has done, why dump him now, right before an election? Have they had a change of heart? Is it because they feel guilty that they doubled housing costs, hiked taxes, unleashed crime, broke immigration, forced a quarter of the population into poverty? No. They continued supporting Trudeau when he did all of those things. No, their only objection is that he is no longer popular enough to win an election and keep them in power. They want to protect their pensions and paycheck by sweeping their hated leader under the rug months before an election to trick you and then do it all over again. Now, while leaderless Liberals focus on saving their jobs and fighting each other for power, the country spirals out of control, an out-of-control housing emergency, an out-of-control migrant crisis, an out-of-control $62 billion deficit, not to mention tariff threats from the United States. Oh, and another NDP Liberal carbon tax hike kicks in this April 1st. Everything's out of control, and now the government is out of control. This cannot go on. We need a carbon tax election now to choose between The NDP Liberal Costly Coalition that taxes your food, punishes your work, doubles your housing costs, and unleashes crime and drugs in your community. Or common sense Conservatives who will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. Canadians can take back control of their lives and their country. Take back control of our border, take back control of immigration, take back control of spending, deficits, and inflation. Take back control of our streets by locking up criminals, banning drugs, treating addiction, and stopping gun smugglers. We'll cap spending, axe taxes, reward work, build homes, uphold family, stop crime, secure borders, rearm our forces, restore our freedom, and put Canada first. All with one mission: to bring home Canada's promise that every hardworking Canadian gets a powerful paycheck and pension that buys affordable food and homes on safe streets where all are united for the country we know and love. Canada first, Canada last, Canada always. Let's bring it home.
Good morning.
Go to hell.
Hi, Alice, that's a nice dress.
Don't even look at me.
Hey, Glenn.
Yeah, go to hell.
I heard that one already.
No, Justin Trudeau has been ignored in some spectacular ways in the past, so he's usually prepared to react to this in a calm, kind of calculated way. But at the G20 yesterday, he was ignored in such an incredible fashion that even he couldn't keep it together. So watch him walking in right now. So the seating chart was set up in alphabetical order. So China was right next to Canada. But President Xi of China has been notorious aloof towards Trudeau. So when Justin sits down, he pays him no attention. He doesn't even look up. So Trudeau is probably expecting this. So what does he do? First, he kind of orients himself to the guy sitting to the left of him and makes eye contact. You know what it feels like when someone's staring at you or looking at you? You can just kind of feel that energy. Well, Trudeau was hoping that when he did this, it was actually the new president of Brazil. His name is Jair Bolsonaro. He was hoping that he would turn and greet him and say hi, so he wasn't kind of sitting there awkwardly. But it doesn't work. So what does Trudeau do? Actually physically touches his arm, which gets his attention. But the problem is Jair was more interested in shaking the hand to whoever was at his left. I couldn't figure out who was sitting to his left. But this is all about social status. Okay, look at this. Trudeau can't even act like that was normal. Take a look at his face. It's hard to recover from that. So the social status component is whoever is looking for your attention, and look right there, look how obvious it is that he sees him right there. But whoever's looking for your attention that has higher status is going to get the attention from the other person. So if two people are coming at once, typically the person with higher status is going to get more attention. Or if they're of equal status, the person that tried to get the attention first. So Trudeau got his attention first, but had lower status in his eyes, in Jair's eyes, than the guy to his left. So he turns to him. So what can you do in this instance? Well, the way that Trudeau messed up, and I'm not sure he could control himself because it was such a harsh denial, but look at that look on his face. He's clearly shocked, and he's like, oh, you ever seen those NBA players that go for high fives and their teammates so worked up they don't see him? Well, this is especially hard because Jair clearly saw him, knows he got his attention first, and was so quick to turn and diss him. And then the funny thing is, when he turned back around to actually shake his hand, he shakes his hand and then immediately turns right back around. He had no interest in Trudeau. So the best thing that you can do in this is, first of all, he needs to realize he was snubbed by this guy. So once that happens, don't make any effort for some long-winded conversation. So he shouldn't have made the face, but he should have waited for him to turn back around, because you can't just completely drop it, act like it never happened, because that makes it look like you're really weak and you're just letting people walk all over you. So the move is to have no reaction, still stay kind of oriented to the person, and then when they come back to you, shake their hand, but at that point, kind of acknowledge you realize you were snubbed and you be the one to cut it off short. So kind of shake their hand, kind of look away, maybe in a bit of a dismissive way, because that balances out the interaction equilibrium. You never want someone to feel like they have higher status over you or feel like they can talk down to you or make such a ridiculously bold move, because these guys know there's a lot of cameras in these places. They know that everything's being documented, and they know that everything like this, like me breaking this down, Jair knew that there were going to be cameras on it and probably dopes like me analyzing it. So that's a very calculated move. You can't be cool with people treating you that way. So you need to know how to come back from something like that. Now, Trudeau was also ignored by Donald Trump at the last G20 conference, and I want to show you that too. But before I get to it, if you want to get high-level social skills, so if something like this happened to you, you'd be confident in how you can handle it, or even more confident just going out and being around people or going to a work event. You want to know that you can always act the right way and have something engaging to say. I've got a social invincibility checklist that you can download for free. I'll put a link in the description of this video below the video box, or you can just go to charismamatrix.com/SI checklist and you can download it there. I'll go through 5 important tips that you can immediately use to feel more confident around people. Now, Trump and Trudeau have had a very interesting relationship ever since Trump took office. And if you want to see me analyze Trudeau getting ignored by Trump, it was actually even worse than this.
This is the end for Trudeau. The Canadian Prime Minister has lost all support. In less than 1 day, his highest-ranking cabinet members have resigned. Chrystia Freeland, the Deputy and Finance Minister, released her resignation letter publicly, stabbing Trudeau in the back, criticizing his costly political gimmicks, obviously referring to this insulting tax break that he created for the holiday season, which has saved Canadians virtually $0. Pierre Poilievre is now pushing for another non-confidence vote, but it's not up to him. This man, Jagmeet Singh, the leader of a party that was never elected, is the one person keeping Justin Trudeau in office. I mean, how broken is the Canadian political system when we have a leader appearing on trendy TikTok channels instead of dealing with a potential trade war with the newly elected Donald Trump, and we can't even vote him out, all because this guy wants his pension? But this cannot go on for much longer. So make sure you follow me to stay up to date.
So the big story today here in Canada is about Trudeau resigning. First time in 22 years that a prime minister has resigned. It was Chrétien in 2003. 2003 was 22 years ago?
Breaking news out of Canada. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has officially resigned as the leader of the Liberal Party in Canada. Woo! Trudeau said that it has become obvious to him with the internal battles that he cannot be the one to carry on the Liberal standard into the next election. AKA, he didn't want to be embarrassed losing horrifically to the Conservative candidate Pierre running against him. As you can see here, polling in Canada has shown that Trudeau was going to lose horrifically to a Conservative candidate. Justin Trudeau has been a horrific Prime Minister for Canada. He's enriched his own family, he's shoved liberal ideologies down Canadians' throat, and he's infringed on individual liberties like with the truckers convoy during COVID. So now Canada's parliament, which was set to resume on January 27th, will be delayed about 2 months so that the Liberal Party can pick a replacement candidate for Trudeau. So if you live in Canada or you have any friends up north, make sure to spread the word for Pierre Poilievre. He is the leader of the Conservative Party in Canada. He's running for Prime Minister of Canada, and his platform is reducing the government's involvement in everyday lives, cutting government spending, and just freedom. And good riddance, we won't miss ya.
I just had to come on here. I made a little post earlier about Mr. Justin Trudeau. You know, my mother-in-law hated that man. And I've got to say, it's just a great day. It's just a great day. I mean, it's a bit cold, but I love a good snowstorm because I'm a child inside. But what a good day for Canada, you know? I mean, I've said it once in the first video and I'll say it again. It's just great. And I'm also in the snow, which reminds me of being in Toronto, which I go up there quite often. But I'm not Canadian, but my daughters are half Canadian. And I married a Canadian, don't you know? So, goodbye and good riddance, Mr. Trudeau. You got in there because of your daddy's name. And guess what? It expired. Sorry, not even a little sorry.
The Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, has resigned. Let's talk about it. So Justin Trudeau will actually leave as Prime Minister once a new leader is chosen. Parliament for Canada will be suspended until March 24th in order to give them time to choose that new leader. And Justin Trudeau, he's been the leader of the Liberal Party for 11 years and Prime Minister of Canada for 9. So this is a bit of a shift for Canadian politics. Now, he was hit by a few different crises of late, and that really threw his prime minister spot into turmoil. The first one was Trump promising tariffs whenever he gets into office on Canada, Mexico, and China. He had several key allies in his administration also resign over the same month to 2 month period. And his opinion polls were absolutely terrible. His party and his opinion polls for him specifically were in the dirt. And the one regret that he said that he had about his administration and about his time in office was that there wasn't multi-choice ballots for elections, which seems like a weird thing to regret whenever you were literally cutting off protesters' bank accounts because they were protesting during the COVID restrictions. But, multi-choice balloting was more important than that, I guess. But I don't think Trudeau will be missed from many Canadians' opinions, and it looks like the Conservative Party will be taking over pretty soon in Canada.
The Lord gave me 2 warning dreams about Canada, and the 2 dreams had the same theme to them. They were very, very vivid, first of all, and the dreams were about Canada having less and less freedom and more control. What I saw was very concerning. I'm not going to say scary, because when you're walking with the Lord, and if the Lord has a specific mission or purpose for you in Canada, He's got your back. There's nothing to fear. But personally, the Lord has been putting it on my heart to leave Canada. Now, before I reveal the details of these warning dreams, I need the Lord's confirmation that this was for Canada as a whole and not just a message for me about Canada. However, we've seen what the Canadian government is capable of doing. We've seen that they do not respect people's freedom. We've seen what they're capable of 2020, 2021. I hope people never forget that. And people think it's over, but what I see for the future in Canada is even more control. Now, everybody's been complaining about the cost of living in Canada because it became insanely expensive. And in my opinion, Canada is too cold and too basic to be that expensive, okay? It's not like you're living in a luxury villa by the beach and you're getting something out of it. No, you're paying like insanely high taxes and insanely high cost of living. And in return, you have, the free quote unquote healthcare. That's not really free because you pay a lot for that healthcare. But that's besides the point. So as soon as I get the confirmation from the Lord, I will be sharing the details of those dreams. So stay tuned for that. But my message for you today is, if the Lord has been putting it on your heart to leave Canada, please listen to it. There is a very good reason for that.
A little afraid for who's going to be coming in next. I know the vote won't be right away, but it will be coming, a sooner election than October, which means most likely Conservatives will get in. With Trump being in America, I think that's really scary. And women's rights, I am horrified, to be honest with you.
Everything is tough right now, so I think Trudeau hasn't proven to be a leader that has any foresight. So, time for a change. Time to give someone else the opportunity.
I think he's been a great prime minister. I think over the years he's done a great job. I think potentially he's maybe stayed a term too long, and Canadians are ready for a change. It's just with the world in so much unrest, to have so much political unrest coming to Canada as well is probably a little bit concerning for me.
I think he served the country really well for the amount of time he spent here in that position. I really feel that he went through a lot of difficult times, right, with COVID and the Indigenous perspective. And I think he listened to the people, and he's listening to them now.
I feel people are not happy.
generally unhappy, but they want to see some results, have something to look for in terms of the party, where it's heading to.
We've been through so much as a country since he's been prime minister, and it's just sad to see the effect upon this country. Like, we really need a new prime minister, a better one, to be in office. It's been a mess, and we need to get this country cleaned up.